Wow, what an introduction that was. Well, I'm very excited to be here to speak to you guys. To me, you guys are the stars of this show. I'm just here to share my experiences and my wisdom with you. Before I start, I want to, everybody see up there, it says the fourth dimension. What's the fourth dimension equal? Time. To me, that's your only competition. Time. That's it. There's no one else who's gonna. You're not competing against other people. You're not competing against yourselves. You're competing against time, right? So, just being around you guys are an advanced group. So that kind of shaped how I wanted to start my talk. So I'll start like this. I feel my only competition is the fourth dimension. I'm on a mission out of DC. Stop and listen. Can your vision see my force diagram? Up in studios, I'm spitting through a large diaphragm microphone. Speakers might get blown in my shows, push lows at 50 hertz. You know, I put in work for my piece of this 3.1415926535. See me live. I grab the mic, I always check 1, 2. Walk around, test for feedback. You know how we do. I'm not new to this. Since Imhotep, we've been doing this. Moving electrons, semiconducting, turn it up a bit. So I can spit the crowd my sound wave from all angles. Magnetic field be most stable. Then the noble gas on the periodic table. Chemist or MC, only God will be able to break Whaley down into the 4 basic organic compounds. Carbon, oxygen, hydrogen, nitrogen. All present in your mass spec. In the end, intellect is what collects mass respect. So put it all in perspective. What's your function? Let my music be my proof by induction. My definition. Alright, so, yeah, I've done, math, I've done that. I've done biomedical engineering, I've done that. I've gone to schools with big names, I've done that. But, like, at the core of that is family. At the core of that is your history and who your people are and all the people that sacrifice for you to be where you're at. So, I kind of guide you through my own life experiences a bit, my education, my passions, jobs and careers, and I kind of want this to be interactive. So if you have questions, I want you to engage with me in a question. That's why I'm here. All right, so first let me start off with just a little bit about me. I was born in San Francisco, California. Went to UC Berkeley, but before that I went to Lowell High School. Lowell High School was like a brainiac think tank. My high school was 70% Asian. All my homies, all my posse went to other schools. All right, so I was pretty much like one of the few brothers of color at law. And did that mean I just stay in my own little cluster? Nah, I had Chinese friends, Asian friends, like Samoan friends, it doesn't matter. You can't live in San Francisco and be segregated. Because part of what San Francisco, the benefit of living in a place like that, growing up there, is you get exposed to everybody. I have friends Chinese, Japanese, and Colombian. Myself, I'm Black, white, Native American. So I alone represent many different ethnicities. And I never felt comfortable checking just one box that they're trying to put me in. For a while, I wrote a whole paper on that, but for a while I was just checking other. Because I feel like, why should I have to check one? We're all these different cultures, let me check white, Native American, and African American. That's it, that's me. So I grew up thinking like that. My mom, she's the foundation. If it wasn't for moms, I wouldn't even be here. Because mom's the one who camped out in front of a school so I could go there. Because my neighborhood, the schools weren't good. So she camped out, in front of the best elementary school with a bunch of other parents, and that's how I got into that school. So she kind of set me off on that path. I was raised in a single-parent home. My mom and my dad split when I was about 4. And for a while, I just wasn't even connected with my dad. Now our relationship is better. But for a while, he wasn't even in the picture. But I always remember one thing that he said, use your head. And while I had a lot of friends who were growing up, slanging dope, I always heard this voice in my head saying, use your head. And so school became my hustle. While I had homies who was hustling for real, school was my hustle. And that's how I survived. That's how I made it. And the thing was, a lot of friends or so-called friends will be the ones trying to drag you down into that game. But my friends who I grew up with, they were like, they recognized my gift and my talent in school. So they was like, you know, P, man, you guys got to keep doing that school thing, man. Do it for all those who can't do it. You know, and so I felt like I had support early on from my family and from friends who really recognized my gifts. And I think that was important because you have a lot of people who are trying to drag you down along the way. So obviously those aren't the ones you want in your posse, right? You want those who are going to be honest with you and really acknowledge your gifts and support you at all times. And that's what's key. My education. Okay, so I went to Lowell. I worked really hard. I played soccer all my life. And I also started a hip-hop group when I was 14. And to really, for me, really soccer and hip-hop, and like every day I would leave for school in the morning with my backpack with like 50 pounds of books, right? My trumpet, because I played trumpet. I was in a band, advanced band, and I had my soccer bag. So every day, like, that was my artillery. I'm like a paratrooper, you know? And for me, that was kind of like a real analogy, because my dad was in Vietnam, and he jumped out of planes to go into combat. And he always said, man, if it's a draft, I'm sending you up out. You're going to be in Jamaica or England somewhere. You're not going to war. But school became a war almost, because I was confronted with racism along the way. And professors and teachers who tried to fail me just because I was like the only brother in the class. You know, so I'm going to challenge, who's experienced that already? Is there anyone in here who's experienced that? A few people. College, especially if you go into a science or mathematics, you'll be confronted with that. Period. It's inevitable, you know, and obviously I hope you don't have to, but to some degree, there's an overt racism and covert racism. It's like nowadays you don't see KKK and all that, but at the same time, there are those who believe they have racist tendencies, you know, and you'll feel that. And it's a difficult thing to know what to do when you experience that. So I'll share a story on how I handled that a little bit later. But so I'm a mathematician, right? A biomedical engineer. Who wants to guess my SAT score?
1600.
1600. Who else? 950. 950. Who else? Yeah. First time I took it, I got 800. Second time I took it, I got 900 because I went to a little prep course. I went to one of these prep courses. It's like, and my GPA has always been good. My GPA was always good. SAT, like, that was the first time I was confronted with, like, something that I just completely bombed. You know, I just completely bombed. I was just shook. The girl who was sitting next to me in one of my classes, she got like 900 too. She was crying. You know what I mean? Like, I was just like, man, it's not that serious. I mean, it's a test, but it's like, does that test measure my heart? Does that test measure your heart? No. SAT does not measure your heart. You know, so keep that in mind no matter how bad or good you do on one of these exams, because you're going to have a whole lot more of exams. It's just kind of how our education system is structured. Anyway, so this is high school. I got my SAT scores back. The only reason I went to Lowell was so I could go to a good college. The only reason I went there. So I went to my guidance counselor. I don't know if you can even call her a guidance counselor. But anyways, I went to her for some guidance. So here's my SAT scores, but I mean, the only reason I went here is to go to a good college. So I'm thinking about Berkeley, UCLA. I want to stay local because I still want to like rap and do all that. So what do you think I should do? She said, well, Pablo, your SAT scores are 900. I wouldn't even apply to Berkeley. She said, you should go to City College. 2 years, then transfer. I was like, I almost flipped her table. I was like, what? How could you sit here and advise me not even apply? Don't even apply? I was done with her. I mean, the only time I spoke to her again was when I got admitted to Berkeley and I threw it on her desk. Because I mean, how can you call yourself a college advisor when you're trying to kill people's spirits? I can't feel that. So, I got into Berkeley. One of the reasons was because I was president of MESA. MESA is Math, Engineering, and Science Achievement, right? So, you have to be strategic along the way. And the fact that you guys are even here, I don't even have to tell you that. So I'm not going to like waste time on being strategic and all. You guys, I wish I had a program like this when I was in high school. You know, it's amazing what you guys are experiencing. So, to me, you guys are already leaders. So I'm not going to come at you from the angle of trying to make you see what I see. I already see that. You guys are there. So, I got into Berkeley, I got into UCLA. I got a full ride to Yale. I didn't go to Yale. That happened because my family was in the newspaper. Because we were a single parent family and someone heard and word got around. My mom had some friends and so we read an article in the newspaper and someone read it. They said, wow, your son's doing really well. Like, he was on the board of admissions for Yale. They wrote a letter saying, when he's ready to apply to colleges, just send this letter. You know, we'll take care of the rest. Well, I didn't apply to Yale because, like, I was trying to stay local. I still wanted to do music. I still wanted to be around my family. Now, and I like Berkeley. To me, Berkeley is also an awesome school to get an education from. So I went to Berkeley. I had to go to Summer Bridge, which was like, you guys know what affirmative action is, right? Yeah. Okay. So this was an affirmative action program. Since my SAT scores were low, but my GPA was high, I was required to go to Summer Bridge. And I was pissed. I was like, as hard as I work, y'all gonna make me go to Summer Bridge? But guess what? That was probably the single best thing that could have happened to me. Because I got a head start on 20,000 people coming in. So when the fall came, I had already taken 2 classes. I knew the entire campus. I already had college advisors. I knew where their office was. I knew where all my classes would be. Right? I already had a whole seminar on how to survive in college. And this was like all minority students. So I'm coming from a high school, 70% Asian, to like a class that looks like this. Like, it was just fun. I was so excited about college and how different it was from what I was just experiencing. So I was excited by that. I didn't know at the time what my major was. I had friends who came in and wanted to declare right away. I said, I'm gonna go slow. I always wanted to go to med school. I always wanted to do science. So I was thinking MD, PhD. That's what I was thinking. And at the time, that was realistic. But the first thing I had to do in Summer Bridge was get myself straight. What I mean by that is there were some flaws in my academic background that I needed to clean up. I took an entrance exam, and if you got it was out of 35. If you got 17 or higher, then you went to take calculus or pre-calculus. And if you got less than 17, you had to take Math P, which you don't get any credit for. No credit, but you work out your flaws, right? And I had only gotten up to trig in high school because of one of these racist teachers, right? He failed me. And I had to take that whole class in summer again. It was terrible. Anyway, so I said, what should I do? I was talking to my counselor. I said, I'm on the threshold. Should I take Math 32 or should I take Math P? He said, it's up to you. I took Math P. I didn't get any credit. I worked the whole summer. We were doing like double assignments. Everybody else was kind of chilling. They were like, damn, what y'all working on, man? We was in there like Friday night, Saturday night, doubles, turned in like 20 pages, front and back problems. And they're like, what y'all doing? I'm like, man, we in Math P, man. Our teacher, she's crazy. But guess what? At the end, my scores were like 34 out of 35. And the fact that I took that class is set me up for my entire degree in mathematics. Because I saw that, hey, I'm raw. I'm raw. I'm raw. I took Math 32 in the fall. I got an A+. I had 6 A+ out of 350. And then I said, man, I can do this. Let's keep it going. To calculus. For engineers and scientists, I did all right in that. There were some people who broke off terribly. And basically what it is, I just kept going. I had a lot of friends in engineering going crazy in the School of Engineering. So I said, I'm working 25 hours a week. I have financial aid. I didn't have a free ride. You guys have some money behind you, right? For college. That's a blessing. Really think about that. I was working 25 hours a week. It wasn't until grad school that I had a chance to just go to school. So I was like going to the studio with my friends, working 25 hours a week, tutoring math, studying for, pre-calculus differential equations. And I said I always want to do medicine, so I'm also taking all the pre-med stuff. I'm taking OChem. I'm taking chemistry. I'm taking all the biology. I'm taking physics. I did all the pre-med stuff on top of my math. And that was a tremendous challenge to do that. One of the reasons I didn't go in engineering direction undergrad was because of GPA. You can't apply to med school when your GPA is like 2.8. And I had a lot of friends in the College of Engineering. They were taking 6 and 7 classes per semester, because the whole point of Berkeley's engineering program is to get you in and get you out, 4 years. I was like, I'm gonna go 5 years. I'm gonna go slower. I'm gonna have my GPA be better. And I graduated Berkeley 3.4 GPA. And I taught after that, mathematics in Oakland. But if it wasn't for my posse in Berkeley, see, I pledged. You guys know what fraternities are? I pledged. You know what I pledged? Mathematics. Mathematics. And it was because of people like, it was because of the pyramids. It was because of Imhotep. It was because of like the ancient traditions that people of color have in math and science that I never learned about anywhere K through 12. Anywhere. My high school, I mean, they tried to make me think Egypt was in like the Middle East. No, it's in Africa. It actually is. There, it's on the map. So there's a whole another side that fuels me, which is like my connection to the past. So one of the things I want you to challenge yourself is you have to have fuel along the way. You're gonna get burnt out. You're gonna have breakdowns. You're gonna have setbacks. You're gonna have challenges. You're gonna have days you want to quit. Did I have a backup plan if I didn't graduate in math? Of course. My backup plan was, I was a minor in African American Studies. That was my minor. Those were the few classes that basically kept my sanity. Because I finally had classes where it was me and other people that looked like me. All my math classes was like a lot of engineering students who were not people of color. That's just the facts. When I graduated Berkeley, there were 6 people of color to graduate with a degree in math. 6 out of 100. So that tells you what the math department looks like. I had a teacher who said, he was like overheard by some students in the professor's lunchroom. He's like, I got a bunch of thugs in my class. I can't stand it, I'm not coming back. And like, he was yelling. Later on, like, some kids heard, like, who's he talking about? Like, why is Professor so-and-so? He's talking about us. So basically, yeah, his class was me and like 3 of my homies, all brothers of color, and we were all in his class. He was talking about us. And there was some like Filipino dude was like, man, the professor was talking about you guys, man. Said y'all was thugs. I was like, so basically what did I do? How did I confront that situation? You'll find that the real way to kill racism is with excellence. That's the real way to do it. You can write letters, you can complain, you can go on TV, there's an outrage, blah, blah, blah. But really, when it comes down to it, can you do the math or not? Can you do the OChem or not? There's not going to be any, free lunches. There is no affirmative action class. It doesn't exist. Open up any college course book and show me an affirmative action class. You won't find one. You'll have ones that are like easier and harder. But the question is, can you do the math? Can you do the science? Can you do the OChem, the physics? Can you do it? And so that's how I responded, with excellence. Guess who was the first one done on the next exam? I was. Guess what I got in that exam? 100 out of 100. And I went to his office hours. Because you better learn about office hours if you don't. You guys know what office hours is? Yeah. Okay. Office hours is the key to survival in college. Outside of your posse and your support group and your counselors, office hours is where you make yourself known. And professors, believe it or not, they like those kids who come and ask questions in office hours. They might try and act like they don't, but they do. Because it shows you want to learn. It shows you want to be, it shows you want to take, you're not afraid to expose your flaws, your vulnerability. And that's the hardest thing to do. Like, how do you really, everyone wants to walk around like they're hard, they have these shells, but like, being vulnerable is like the hardest thing of all. So professors want to know about that. I went to him in office hours. I said, Professor so-and-so, I heard about all the stuff that you said. He's like, And the kids wrote up a complaint and everything, you know. I'm having to, you know, explain myself to the other department now, and blah, blah, blah. I was like, you know what? I was like, but you know, I don't really care about all that. I mean, I don't approve of, if really that's how you see me, it's like, I'm black and I can't do math. That's one thing, that's your own, you're gonna have to explain that. That's between you and the Most High, and you're entitled to your beliefs. Like, when you deal with me, just deal with the mathematics and we'll be fine. That's it. And he was like, you know, Pablo, I really respect you for coming to my office like that. And really, you know, you've proven to me that for you, you're more concerned about the math and about the learning. And you've proven you can do that. I had him write me a letter of recommendation for grad school. It's true. It's true. But that's what I'm saying. It's how you respond to these situations that defines your path. I could have just got crushed, like, you know, my professor called me a thug, blah, blah, blah. Nah. It's about elevating, you know? And you have to keep in mind your mission. Like, this whole next 4 years, I'm so excited for you guys. Because, like, to me, you guys are the leaders. This is like future leadership I'm talking to. I expect greatness from you. You know? It's not like I'm hoping. I expect it. And, you know, in 4 years or 5 years, however long it takes you to finish, and, you know, you may want to decide to go slower, which is fine. I don't know when your funding runs out. You know, but to me, like, well, nowadays, 5 years is average. Almost. You know, for most. And in that case, you know, what I'm saying is there's some circumstances in life that come up. It just happens. You know, I had a homie who died while I was, you know, I had a calculus, I had an OChem final, and just found out my homie got killed. You know what I mean? And I had a bio, and I had an advanced algebra final. You know, and I bombed the final. I had to take that class in summer school, and so that extended my duration of time. What I'm saying is, there's things in life that come up. Be flexible. Be flexible. If you get, some people are so stuck to their plan. You know, that like any sort of shifts in that plan will just completely throw you off. Be flexible. Life happens. You know, things happen. Alright? My passions. Obviously, I'm passionate about music, lyrics, production, sound waves, and vibration. That's why I studied ultrasound in grad school. Okay? Because to me, music has always affected my body. I hear it, I feel good about things. You know, I'm inspired to do things. So I said, well, dang, you know, I'm also a mathematician. How does sound waves affect the body on an actual biophysical level? So in grad school, I studied ultrasound. We looked at fracture healing of bone using sound waves. And a bunch of other things. You know, ultrasound creates images as well. So you have all kinds of imaging you can do with sound waves. The thing I'm saying is, like, utilize your passions that keep you fueled, and like find a way to twist that into a way to a career path, you know, or a skill set, or creation of a whole job that wasn't there before. All right. For example, recently, so I work at the patent office. I'm a biotech patent examiner. You guys know what patents are, right? Yeah. Intellectual property, right? All right. So patents, trademarks, copyrights, these are all intellectual property. So after 4 years at the patent office, 5 years, I realized that I didn't have any opportunities to go out and teach or volunteer. You know, these things weren't really made presentable to me. So I wrote a letter to the director of the patent office. And my letter said, you know, in view of President Obama's recent K-12 STEM initiative, which I'm sure you're aware of, it doesn't seem like the patent office is holding up its end of the stick. The patent office doesn't seem to be holding up its weight in this. Are you guys aware of President Obama's STEM initiative? Are you aware of that?
No.
So STEM is science, technology, engineering, mathematics, right? And Obama last November proposed a whole initiative to basically ask government agencies and private industries and nonprofits to do more to get kids into the pipeline of math, science, engineering, technology. All right? And I looked at the PTO and I was like, what's the patent office really doing? We have 6,000 examiners here. How come there's nothing really set up for me to go, take a day off and go speak, or go volunteer or teach? And so I wrote a letter to the director. See, when you have issues, I found that going to the top is the best way to handle it. That's my experience. I've gone to the people at the bottom, and a lot of times, they run you in circles. So I write letters to people at the top. That's what I do. And guess what happened out of that email? Oh, I sent one letter to Obama, and I sent one letter to the director of the patent office. I didn't hear from Obama yet. I heard the next day from the director of the patent office. He said, Pablo, I really thank you for your email. I agree with you 100%, and we need to do more. And I'd like to use your email as a template for our next meeting amongst higher management. So I told my fiancée, I said, Mom, guess who I heard back from? Oh, she's right there too. This is my family, by the way. This is Mom's right here in the middle. That's my fiancée, Moni. That's my son, Azan, Nazara, and Dia. All right, so I said, Moni, because Moni's part of my posse. I said, Moni, guess who I heard back from? She's like, who? I was like, the director. He said, he wants to use my email and wants to manage. She's like, you better make sure you're invited to that meeting. And I was like, I'm going to say that. Come on. So I responded, dear director, thank you for your response. You're welcome to use that letter in the template for a discussion amongst higher management as long as I'm invited to the meeting. So he invited me to the meeting. And I presented my idea to him with one of my co-workers named Jason. He was also a teacher. He's also a scientist. And we always bounce ideas off each other. He's also part of my posse. Right? So I said, Jason, man, let's put together a PowerPoint. You down? He's like, I'm down, man, let's do it. So look, me and Jason, 2 examiners, up in the 10th floor boardroom with the directors of the patent office, all because of the email I sent. For 10 minutes, we presented our whole vision for what the PTO would be doing. PTO is the patent office, around STEM education. At the end of that meeting, they were sold. They said, all right, what do you guys need from us? We said, we need a 2-month, 3-month special project. So that's what we got. For 3 months, I haven't been examining patents. I've been doing basically a lot of background research and brainstorming and visioneering on how the patent office could move forward. So that comes from my passion. Because, okay, I can be making money. Patent examiners, do GS-13. GS-13 is not a secret. Look it up. You make $95,000 a year. That's what I make. So yeah, I'm doing good. I have a family of 5. I'm the only income. So it's not like I'm balling. My commitment is clear because I'm committed to share everything I know about math, science, engineering, music, how to survive in college to the youth. And to really advance this whole educational system to be more innovative. All right, so that's what it's about for me. And I'll continue to do that. No matter how much money I make. I should be making more, of course. Based on, I feel like what I know, my experience, I should be making more. You have to be creative about that. But don't think that you have to go walk some path just because someone said that's the path for you. Don't think that. Don't. The jobs you guys might be working at after you graduate from college may not exist yet. So don't always take they don't even have a job doing that. They don't even have. Well, maybe you should be writing a letter to the director saying why they need to create that job because you've shown a need that aligns with the mission of their institution and say that you're the perfect person for it. And you have experience to back it up because you have credentials. And that's one of the things that college is going to give you, credentials. You're going to need that, and you're going to need your creativity, and you're going to need your family, and you're going to need your posse. So I'm really glad to see you guys here. I have some other stuff I brought, but we might be pressed for time. It was just some multimedia stuff, video stuff I've been a part of. But I encourage you guys to keep up the good and amazing work you're doing. And I'll be here. I expect to hear back from you. My contact information is all in the handout, I believe. And thank you for your time. All right.
You guys want Professor Whaley to show his videos real quick and then he asks questions? Okay, good.
Questions about something? Any questions at all? It could be anything related to what I've talked about or not. You know, I'm here to help. You know. Yes.
Hi, I'm Anna. Spawning Posse 4. I really like math, and I really thought about majoring in it, and I was really not sure. But the fact that you were keep trying at it is really cool. What else should I do to succeed, or what classes should I take or not take?
I mean, first take an inventory of where you're at. Like for me, I needed to take Math B, you know, because that's just where I was at, you know. And if you need to do something where it's it seems remedial, you have a lot of your friends doing something different, don't worry about that. Because at the end of the day, who's going to have to pass the exam, them or you? You are. You know, so really you got to say first, take an inventory of where you're at and take those classes that you need to fill any gaps. All right, fill any gaps. And then really, practice. People think, why is Jordan good? You know, why was Jordan one of the best? He was just so gifted. Of course he's gifted, but guess what? His work ethic, you can name the list. Jerry Rice, Jordan, LeBron, all these cats, they practice you guys wouldn't imagine. You think you could just do 10 problems and then you're raw? You know what I mean? You should be doing problems you're dreaming about. Seriously. That's how I know when I've studied enough. When I'm trying to take integrals and derivatives in my brain and in my dreams, now I'm okay, I'm good. When I'm coming up with what kind of questions the professor might ask on the exam, yo man, you think he's gonna ask a question like this? I'm creating questions. That's happening. And I've seen the question I created on the exam was crazy. I was tripping. I was dang, I'm on the level. I'm on that level. So do that. And also teach, tutor. Tutoring is how you get better. Don't think just because I was math major, I know all the answers. There's been times in tutoring it's I don't even know how to do that problem. But guess what? We're going to work it out. We're going to work it out. Because I understand the approach. Alright? Good question. Yeah.
Who's your favorite artist, music artist?
My favorite music artist? Man, it's too many. I kind of been out the loop because I've had, 2 kids in the past 4 years. So all I've been doing really is producing my own stuff. And I've done some vocals here and there. But just the other day, what's his name? J. Cole. Hey, I was looking at some of his stuff. It was inspiring because I heard an authenticity there that inspired me as an MC. You know, how I felt when I was younger. I saw that same energy, that same confidence in him. I love Jay Electronica from I like intelligence. I like intelligent, relevant lyrics. So I love KRS. You know what I mean? Look, I love Wise Intelligent. It's I love Most Def. It's how I live. It's all. I stay connected with the intelligent relatives. Yeah.
It's sort of music production kind of thing. I like it. I'm a fan of 2 Million, but I'm not good. I just like.
Well, what is good? It's all relative, man. The main thing is honoring your spirit when you create.
I think so. I'm gonna try and be the university radio station.
And that's a perfect example of basically using the passion and finding a way to make some income or volunteer. Don't think, well, I ain't even paid. I'm not gonna do it. There may be some things where you just have to volunteer, and so do that. I encourage that and keep making music. I have a good friend of mine. He's a musician now, MC, but he's also an artist. We grew up together. His art used to be terrible. I'm talking about dang man, why you even bother drawing? And guess what? He stayed committed. And he's so dope now on a lyrical and artistic level. Because he stayed committed. So whatever it is, stay committed. Alright? Yeah.
But what you said about Egypt, I'm not sure if I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah, you're welcome to disagree.
I want to see why do you think that?
My only reason for saying that is based off looking at a map. It doesn't get bigger than that. You know, it's really just like, okay, where's the continent of Africa and where's Egypt? You know, that's
I don't see why you consider part of the Middle East. Why don't you consider it part of the Middle East?
That just comes from my conversation with Egyptians. That's not like even me. I have friends who are Egyptian. I talked to them, I grew up with them. I asked them, yo, do you consider Egypt part of the Middle East? They said no. They said we consider ourselves Arabic and African. So, that's from the source. Yeah.
Do you miss California?
I do miss home. You know, there's no place like home. It's hard being away. I left when I left 2002. And it's 2010. It's been 8 years. I mean, the fact that I have family now makes it like more bearable. Now that I have, you know, kids, you can't. I used to go just roll home all the time. I would basically pack my bag. Like, Mom, I'm coming home. You know, catch a flight. It's $300, whatever round trip. Now multiply everything times 5. It's much more expensive to travel nowadays. Yeah, man.
Yeah, so like, you're a great speaker, and I was wondering, I feel like there's a lot more kids, especially in high schools, that need to hear you, like you would be.
Oh, yeah.
So like, do you do public speaking in high school? So if you do, I got high school for you.
Thank you for the compliment. You know, I feel like I had to come out of the shell, and I had to find my voice. And really, I credit hip-hop with that. If it wasn't for hip-hop, you know, I wouldn't have found my voice. And so, I'm open to speaking. So yes, put me on this. For me, it's a matter of time, right? Because I work full-time too, so I have to be conscious of time. But I'm always open to come speak. Yes.
Lyrically, as an MC, how do you find balance between, like, it must have been hard being a math major and not really being able to do your music full-time, and a lot of times people critique me and say that music will get you nowhere, so you need to just quit it now. So how do you overcome that struggle of other people trying to like destroy your passion for your education, basically?
Yeah, I mean, you gotta just keep your mission in mind. You know, like mathematically speaking, to me, you all represent functions, different functions. You're here for different reasons. You have different variables that define you. You know, so really, what's your function? If your function really is to be an MC, I mean, like, if your function is to be an MC, you could still be an MC with a degree. You know, with a math degree. To me, that's a more powerful MC. Because what happens when you don't have money for the studio? And then you can still go apply for a job. You know what I mean? It's like the CIA, the patent office, wherever you want. Like, I mean, are you guys familiar with risk management and all the whole insurance agencies, all this? There's what's called Actuarial Science. And I don't know if you guys know what an actuary is. Actuaries are mathematicians, and who basically are advanced at risk management using mathematics. That's a very profitable realm to be in. And if I had to go do math degree over again, I would probably look at actuarial science. You know, because I didn't find out about it until it was too late. But I'm saying, keep your passion and your mission, like it's like DNA. You know, to me, like the music and the math is like DNA, man. You can't take one strand away and expect the other one to make sense. So, like, explain that to people through a rap, and they'll feel you. You know.
Two more questions.
Let me get some more. Any other questions? Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit how you got into producing? Because you said you work at a studio. Can you just explain?
I own my own studio.
Oh, yeah.
That's a blessing. I always, like, when I was 14, I walked into this dude in the hood named J Mac. And he had, with me and my boy E, and we just started our group. It was called Urban Crime at the time. They were like, man, we ain't criminals. So we changed it, Committed to Excellence. And then it turned into, you know, 3 Shades of Rhythm and then Boy Stick. But we walked into his house, and he had he had the SP12 and some big speakers, and as soon as I heard just the bump, I walked in and heard the bump, and I was like, man, I gotta get this set up. You know, I was 14. And so I didn't actually get a setup to create music until I went to grad school. In between those times, I was using the stuff we had. I had my turntable, I had a tape deck. I used to make beats with the pause button. I would sample what I want, press pause, rewind, unpause, record, pause again, rewind it. And that's how I make whole entire instrumentals. I mean, that's when I was 15. Because that's a tremendous work. But the thing is, like, we use 4 tracks. We went to studios, we used 24 tracks. We used field reels. Now it's like Logic Pro Tools and all that. So I've done the analog and the digital. And now I have my own stuff. But invest in something small if you're interested. You can be on eBay, Craigslist, and find your little 4-track to record and a Shure mic for $25. You know what I mean? So you don't have to have like the best. It's like really, what do you do with what you have? That's what it is.
Okay,
Yeah.
last question.
Well, I really feel you on the math and music thing. I feel with every atom of my existence that math and music is what I love. But like, I always was told that, you know, math and music are like 2 different things. And I know you research ultrasounds or whatever. Is there any other thing that you advise me to go through?
Sure. I mean, we can talk more like in another setting about, you know, if you really want some ideas on ways you can pursue. But the relationship between math and music is well known. You can just simply look at a quarter note and music and time. You know, like I said, it's all in time. You know, these are all like music is broken down and quantized in time using mathematics. All right. But yeah, if you want more ideas on you know, career majors, etc., all right. All right, you guys. I'm gonna show you this quick video, and I tried to show you before.
Give Pablo Whaley a hand. In your package, just before the orange page, towards the end, is Pablo Whaley's curriculum vitae, or resume, as we call it.